saw what happened to Cardiff at the weekend. I mean, any team on any night can have a bad night, and they obviously had a pretty horrific night. I don't know if anybody's actually read the forum.
No, their forum or ours.
Their forum is quite entertaining, actually.
Right. I might do that later if I get a chance.
Yeah, totally. It's one bad game, do you know what I mean? And that's what Tripp said last weekend. I mean, you put the weekend behind you and you look forward to the next game, and that's exactly what he's done. But obviously the previous couple of weeks we've struggled with the scoring. And we didn't have that problem this week because the guys took their chances, and Tripp's even said in the interviews that's what he's telling the guys: if you can see a shot, take it. Don't be fancy with it, because like eventually when you start taking the shots, they're going to go in. So, but we're really looking forward to seeing Guildford, because I think what's been surprising as well, I don't think there's like any one team that's actually been consistent yet. Everybody's having good nights and everybody's having bad nights, and I think that's what's going to make for a really interesting league.
And I think the point as well I'm trying to make too is if we go down to Cardiff and Guildford and come away with 0 or 1 points, it's not the end of the world either. I mean, okay, Graham, we can maybe still go back to saying, okay, why have we not got a full team? We're now virtually, well, when is it? October still, when's October start?
Just around the corner.
Yeah. It must be Sunday. Sunday's the 1st of October. We could be into October. And you know what the calls are going to be if we do come away with 0 points. It'll be kind of back down in the doldrums again, and why are we not doing, blah, 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 blah. I've got to put my hands up for a minute here and say my bad about mentioning a certain person who may or may not have signed. Obviously, blew up my face a wee bit. That person will not be signing, or we're led to believe. He's got more money elsewhere, and I'm never going to see another thing on here about signings that we've maybe heard about. I think it's fair to say, though, without giving anything away, is certainly, there has been offers in for guys, and, for one reason or another, they fell through. And, it's not for a lack of trying. And you've got to agree to an extent, Graham, not just bring anybody in, bring the right guy in. But there's got to come a point where you're thinking it's seriously affecting, where we're going to sit in the league at some point. As I say, even now, if we sign somebody tomorrow, you're still looking at towards the end of October. And if they have a Patulni type visa application, November. So it's a balancing act, isn't it?
It is a balancing act, but, again, I was about to say that despite the fact we've had a 4-point weekend, and I have been critical of the club because of what I perceive as being the signing policy during the summer, and I haven't changed my mind one iota, to be honest with you, because a 4-point weekend is great, but we are, the fact remains that we're still 2 imports down, and that is unacceptable. And I've got every sympathy for John Tripp, because I think it's a situation he's having to manage as best he can. But in terms of an organisation, and I'd go all the way up to the ownership, I just think it's unacceptable. So, your opinion can't change by one weekend from to the next. I mean, for me, we shouldn't be in this position. We shouldn't be 2 imports down. And I think probably the lesson that we're learning just now is the fact that, the fact of the matter is that you're not going to get every target. I think we know that, but if you're in a situation where you're trying to get the best possible signings that you can, understandably, but at the best price that you can, again, understandably, you could possibly end up with nothing, and that's where we are right now. So, and this is a danger that you run if you're going to run into the start of the season and still still have a short roster. So I agree with the fact that you don't want to just sign anybody, but I really, really do have misgivings about us going to this stage of the season and still being 2 imports down. And let's just be thankful, although we've had some injury issues, let's just be thankful we haven't had any significant injury issues right now, because if we had, there'd be a lot more people making a noise about this right now. So let's just be thankful for that. So yeah, hopefully we can get these 2 imports in at some stage before Christmas, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, but it's all about results, though, isn't it? I mean, you can imagine, Stephen, we're still stuck in this subject. You imagine the calls and the furore that would have surrounded the clan if we had come back with nothing this weekend. But then again, if we come back with 4 points next weekend, everybody's going to forget it, though, aren't they, Stephen?
Including the owner. I couldn't resist that.
a fickle business, isn't it? You know, it's when you win, you can do no wrong, and when you lose, you can do no right. It's just, you see it all the time, you know. It's a difficult one. We're led to believe, and we're not saying we know any names this time, but we're led to believe that, you know, that talks are ongoing and that Trip will have his targets, and it's up to both parties to agree to a deal. So we just need to hope that it happens soon, because as Graham said, you don't want the visa process to drag on too long. But that's another thing that's completely out the club and the signing players' hands, unfortunately, and it's all in the hands of the government officials looking at visa applications. So, you know, we just need to, fingers crossed, that this is all done with sooner rather than later, and we've got a full team in the ice.
Yep, and I think, you know, everybody's got to be happy to an extent. You know, if you looked at the 4 league fixtures that we've played so far, if you'd said we'd have get 4 points out of them, you'd probably have been relatively happy with that, given they've all been away from home. Obviously, you know, before we move on to next weekend, the fact that we all kind of mentioned it, Ryan Nye facing 53 shots, and generally, you know, he's been facing over 40 shots a game. It's one thing that kind of worries me, Jennifer, is that just isn't really sustainable to expect Ryan Nye to dig us out to an extent, or keep us in the game every weekend if he's facing that a number of shots, is it?
If he's having a good night, it's good. If he's not having a good night, then it's bad. But no goalie should be facing that number of shots. But what I personally feel it's indicative of is how good a team that Panthers were. The number of shots that they tried to get in us. I mean, they didn't have success in the CHL because they're a mediocre team. They had success in the CHL because they're a damn good team. Just so happens in Saturday night, Nye pulled off an absolute belter of a performance, and definitely feel it was him that won the points for us. So as long as he's having a good night, but you can't expect your goalie to have a good night every night. I mean, obviously Panthers pulled their goalie on Saturday night as well, so everybody has off nights. Yep,
but again, Graham, to me it's an indicator of there's just that still more work to be done, and with another D-man still to come in, you know, that's going to kind of put it back again, and, you know, you're kind of hoping that guy can slot into the system will work, and we won't be giving up so many shots every game.
Yeah, and it kind of tallies with the point I've already made. I mean, the fact is that we shouldn't really be at this stage of the season, we shouldn't be still this far down. And let's be honest about it, that, you know, we've seen goalies that simply can't last out the season when they're facing a lot of shots every game, with injuries and everything else that comes with it. So we don't really want Ryan Nye to be having to face that kind of eventuality. So, okay, we've got a good backup, but, you know, we need a better D so that hopefully he's able to face less shots. So, and again, you know, we're talking about unfinished lines. You know, Tripper still can't finalise what his team is. I mean, most teams are fairly well settled now in terms of what their lines are. We're not. And as I say, that's the trouble. So yeah, I mean, you know, I'm delighted that we're able to get results such as we've had over this past weekend. But, you know, we aren't half starting the season with our hand tied a little bit behind our back, and I just don't think that's the right way to be. So yeah, I mean, hopefully, if we're getting results with our current predicament, as long as we can fill those slots as quickly as possible, then you know, even better times ahead, hopefully.
Yep. I mean, Ryan Nye currently, by my calculations, and some of the game sheets on the EIHL website aren't quite correct, but, you know, I've had a word with EHL Statos and trying to kind of confirm what I've got is right, and for my calculations he's on a 917 save percentage, which is, you know, bloody good to start the season considering the amount of shots he's faced. I think it's averaging now 38.3 shots per game we're giving up, and a 3.2 goals against average. And you've got to remember, this is all away from home. He's doing this, obviously, well, we've had one home game against Manchester, which are counting as a Challenge Cup game, so we've had 6 competitive games. We've played 3-1-3, obviously, at this stage. Overall, you know, we've kept considering everything, we've got to be happy, but, you know, this is a league, and we saw, as we talked about the Cardiff game, we had Belfast taking the 4 from Sheffield. Sheffield haven't had the greatest start of the season either. You know, it's good for the Elite League, Stephen, if, you know, we're going into games not really knowing who's going to win, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of people didn't know what to expect this year, especially for Guildford and Milton Keynes, new to the league. Obviously, they've been about a while at a different level, but you never know how a team's going to make the step up. But as we've seen, nobody knows who's going to win in any given weekend. Nobody would have expected a 0-point weekend for Sheffield last weekend. I think Cardiff got one as well. Not too sure, was they really paying too much attention to our teams? But yeah, it's good for the league that it's not just Sheffield, Cardiff, Nottingham running away with everything. You know, it's good to see everyone's got a chance of winning any given game.
Yep, and we talked about, the goalie side of the ice. Back at the other end of the ice, we've got two Brits heading up the points table. I know it's early in the season. We're talking about 6 games, 2 Challenge Cup games. Matt Haywood and Zach Sullivan both get 6 points from 6 games. With Brendan Brooks, the only other player in 6 points. When you consider Sully, I think in the last few seasons he got 8 in his first season, or 6 in the first season, 8, 6 and 10, or something along the lines. 10, certainly 10 last year. So he's only 4 points off his total for the whole of the year, with only 6 games played. And, I think, is it just the increased ice time for likes of Zach and particularly Matt Haywood as well that's just giving them that extra chance to shine, Jennifer?
Well, I think Sully's kind of always had a decent amount of ice time right from the start. Do you know what I mean? When he came in as the rookie, we didn't expect much and he proved himself. So I think it's quite right. I think it's just been luck. With Haywood, I think because we're not running a specific Brit line, because he's kind of up working with some imports, that's probably why we're seeing a few more points. But see the goal that him and Brace scored, the short-handed goal when they scored the weekend, that was just absolutely gorgeous to watch, and that's the chances that you make. 9 times out of 10 that doesn't go in, but obviously that was the time that it did go in. So we can't discount Haywood because he is a good Brit. I think perhaps we just kind of obviously need to put him with the right people, and obviously I feel the way that Tripp's mixing up the Brits rather than keeping the Brit line it's benefiting us. Do you know what I mean? Peacock has been absolutely outstanding. We've not seen too much of Barry yet, but all the rest of them, they're certainly shown their worth. But as I said, they're having to play lots of minutes because we don't have the imports, but they're certainly proving themselves worth their weight in gold.
That brings me on to the prediction game. Obviously, Graham, we've got Cardiff on Saturday, Guildford on Sunday. Difficult, but you're going to say 4 points, aren't you?
Every time, 4 points, absolutely.
Stephen, I'll come to you for a more realistic expectation here.
I'm glad that I'm sure Cardiff are playing tomorrow or tonight, so I'm glad that there's a team that is potentially going to get a hammering after the weekend that Cardiff had. There's someone in between us and the weekend there to take a hammering that we could possibly get.
Yeah. I know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, so, I think realistically, obviously I want 4 points, but realistically I think 2 is a good tally. We've fared fairly well against Cardiff the last couple of years, but that was in their old rink. So I don't think our record, well, no, because last year our record was atrocious against the other conference. So we've not got a win at IAW yet. So, it's going to be a difficult one, but I think if we can get 2 points somewhere along the way, then we'll set us up nicely.
Yep, I think I've got to be with you. Graham, I'd love to get 4 points, but, unless you're running into a Cardiff team who are on the same streak of form they had last weekend, then it's not going to happen. To go down to Cardiff with short benched and with a couple of guys who are still slotting in, difficult. I'd be happy with 2 points. We don't really know how we match up with Guildford yet. It's going to be really difficult to tell that one, but it'll be interesting to watch that develop. Jennifer, what are your thoughts?
I think 2 as well. I hope that we'll go into Guildford and kind of basically show what is. Am I right in thinking Brian Stewart's still injured?
I think so, yeah.
Is he still injured? Yeah. So obviously we know how hot and cold Brian Stewart can be, but maybe with them not having their first choice goalkeeper, that's when they're going to hopefully have a bad day.
It should be said that Mike Will had an excellent game against the Panthers, though. He played really well, so Panthers got a real fright off the Flames last weekend.
But we know how to score past Mike Will, so...
How's that? Don't tell it, don't you? delve into this world of social media, and we'd put out a few requests for comments after the 4-point weekend.